shake them off. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Welcome, everybody. It's your girl, Leanne Dulce here, your Chief Self-Love Officer over at Wake Up Happy Sis. And you are tuned in to the Wake Up Happy Sis show on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we are changing the narrative for our people because we're always telling the stories, our way. Today, we are talking about Black women that are making moves, and we have with us a special guest today, Dr. Shunte Howze, and she is a visionary whose journey from corporate America to the helm of Purpose Life Coaching Services has inspired many to pursue their dreams with purpose and passion. From overcoming personal and professional hurdles to empowering others to achieve their best selves, Dr. Howze's story is a testament to the power of resilience and determination that is Black Girl Magic. Let's just go with that because, we sprinkle that stuff everywhere. So welcome. I'm so happy. We've been Facebook friends for a long time, but we've never actually physically met. So I am honored and blessed that you could grace our show this morning and to finally meet you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited and just proud to be a part of this journey and to be able to pour back into others as God has poured into me.
Yes. So why don't you tell our audience, our fans, a little bit about you, what you do, and just a little bit about your journey to getting where you are now.
Okay, great. So my journey, I have my shirt on. It's the caterpillar to the butterfly, and it really has been a caterpillar to the butterfly because it's been a process. And so I am the mother of two daughters. I have a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old. My 10 is going on 30 in her mouth, but that's another story for another day. But with that, I had worked for corporate America, private government entities, and in 2019, before the pandemic happened, I was like, okay, God, what do you want me to be when I grow up? Like, what else is it I'm supposed to be doing? Because I've done so much between working with children in the foster care system, juvenile justice. I've worked for HUD, with the Housing Authority. I've done all these things. I was like, it's something else I'm supposed to be doing. And like, what is my purpose? And I'm like, oh, purpose. Like, what does that look like? And so during that time, I had a state contract. Things are going well, but they were also very, very stressful at that time as well. And I just wanted to do something different. And so I was like, well, what else can I do? Because I've gone to school as long as I'm gonna go. I don't want to sit because I'm one of those that if the instructor is too melatonin or things aren't flowing right, I'm sitting there doodling on my paper. Like I'm sorry, I get distracted. And I'm not going back to school, but what else can I do? And it was like, you know what? Let me research what a life coach is. And I was like, oh, this is what's up. Like, I could do this. And this is what I do anyway, because this is who I am. I love empowering and encouraging and pouring into people. So I'm like, okay, let me look at this a little bit more, looked into it a little bit more. And I'm like, okay, this is great. Went through the certification process, got that done. And I was like, so what are we going to call this? And it was like, went through all these different things, and it came back to Purpose Life with the D. And it was like, okay, Purpose Life Coaching Services. That sounds great, but okay, kind of give this to me a little bit more. And so I'm in my headspace, I'm praying, I'm talking to God, and it was like purpose with the D, because who you are, who you will become, you already are. You just have to transition into that process. What you're destined to be, you will become. You just have to transition into that process. And that process isn't always easy. It's not always good. It's messy. It's dirty. But it's what we need to segue us into that next thing. And so I'm like, okay, I like this because yes, I'm already predestined. Says I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. So I'm like, okay, this is going great. So now what's my logo? So went through all these different things, and then God gave me the butterfly, but it was just a butterfly. And so I'm like going through the process, looking at what this butterfly is. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so pretty, but it was a process and it was a journey to get there. And so on the shirt that I have, it actually has a caterpillar to the full butterfly, but the part I leave off is a cocoon. And I leave the cocoon off intentionally is because that's that really messy space. That's that you and God, that's that going through and really deep diving into the trauma and the challenges and all those things in life to get to becoming what it is you're supposed to be. And so my life has not always been the easy, you see this right here. That's the I'm not even gonna say the end game. I'm still growing, I'm still becoming, but I had to go through, some childhood trauma, single
Mhm.
mom and dad went through a divorce when I was younger. I went through marriage and then divorce. I went through being unemployed. I went through making six figures to $400 a month with a brand new baby. I went from being married to a single mom, but I was not only just a single mom of one, I was single mom and I was actually expecting our other child when things transitioned. So now I'm trying to hold myself together while had already ended had put in my contract. So my daughter was born July the 4th, but my contract ended May the 24th. My husband left that January before then. So my daughter was turning 5. I'm pregnant. I have no job. And it was like, okay, so what am I going to do? But God has allowed things to align in such a way that I never missed a beat. Things never went away. And so that's my journey. And so that's how Purpose Life was birthed. And it wasn't birthed out of like, oh, things are just great. No, it was birthed out of hell. It was birthed out of some challenges. It was birthed out of things that I was going through, but this is where I'm supposed to be. It's my purpose. And I enjoy pouring and showing and teaching in the transformation space that comes along with helping people to discover what their purpose is.
Wow.
That's it.
And what I really like about that is that, like you said, the journey is never going to be easy. When there are lessons that we got to learn and we're asking God, please give me, I need da 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 da, He's going to give you some challenges and some hurdles. But some of the challenges and hurdles are ones that we implement in our life that we want to attribute to God. Why is this happening? Why is this? We have free will and choice. And sometimes the choices we make, we don't always make the best choices because we're human. We all have fault. None of us is perfect. And what I love about your journey is that even though you may have stumbled, you still continue, you still look to God and like, okay, how can I move to this next level? What is next for me? What would you have me do? And it's about that resilience, that knowing there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean? And that one thing I will say is that I don't like is that Black women are taught to be so resilient in that we don't feel that we have the ability to be vulnerable, to be weak, to falter. And when I talk to people, it's always, I'm the head, I'm the foundation, I'm the support for everybody. So talk a little bit about feeling like you are the foundation and everybody support, but there may not have been that same support for you. Like you said, you're pregnant, no job, husband is left. Talk a little bit about that and how you managed to get through that.
I'm glad you brought that up and that you mentioned that. And so, as I've mentioned this journey, a lot of things happen from childhood. So, with my mother and my father initially going through that divorce, I wasn't as affected as my brother was in the challenges that he had to go through life. I was the overachiever. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to be, honor society. I'm going to make straight A's. I'm going to be the overachiever. And so I went through, it worked out well in some areas, but in other areas, it became a stronghold and a challenge, to be honest with you, because you get the imposter syndrome, like, oh, I got it, I got it, I got it. And so even when people were extending through periods of life, trying to extend help, because I became that staple of I got it. I'm the strong Black woman. I got this. I can handle it. In my mind, I didn't realize how much things were affected until I actually was starting to go through my own divorce. So I was dealing with the grown woman Shunte and the little girl Shunte at the same damn time. And really, really having to process it. So it probably wouldn't have been so overly emotional and overwhelming for me if, again, during that time, and we didn't talk about mental health, we didn't talk about counseling and therapy, from back then. And so getting to the space of becoming a single mother and like figuring this all out, it was like, okay, now I got to figure out who I am outside of my roles, outside of being a mom and being a consultant and all these titles. Like, who am I? And so, and being a wife, because I was married short of 15 years at that time. It wasn't like 5 years or 3 months. No, like this was years. But I had vested myself into that marriage, into that corporate space, into all these roles. And so it was me rediscovering and figuring out what that looks like. And so going through that journey, going through that process, working with coaches, working with a therapist, I realized like, yes, although you're strong and although you're resilient, you need help, you need support. And so God started allowing people, once I got to the space like, yeah, I do need some help. Like I need some help with these girls. I need some help with some cooking. I need help. God then allowed me to realize that everything I needed was already around me. The people, the friends, the support were already there, but I didn't embrace and I didn't embark upon those opportunities in that circle until I was just like, I was dealing with heart palpitations, honestly, and stress. So life was great, but it was like, okay, and it took a perfect stranger for me to say, it's amazing that you can say all these things you've done in the community and all these lives that you've poured into, but I'm gonna call you selfish because it's a shame that you would leave your daughters in the hands of somebody else because you didn't do what you needed to do for yourself. And I'm like, first of all, she don't even know me. But it was my wake up call to say, listen, girl, you better get it together. And at that moment, I began to accept the help and understand that, like, you're still amazing, even when you're a mess. You're still strong, even when you feel like you're weak. You're still all of these things that don't take anything away from who you are, but accept and embrace the relationships, the connections, the circles, and all those things that come along with it. And so now I'm learning how to lean in on my support system. I'm learning how to lean in and say, Aunt Donna, Aunt Sharon, yes, you can get the girls. Yes, take them, because I realize that also I need a break. So that self-care is important because in that space too, if I'm not where I need to be, although I'm a great mother, I can be even better if I had some rest. If I didn't run all over the world and balance that work life space. And so that's my journey. And it's been a process because of course, even as girls, we're told like you're a strong Black woman. Yeah, you can have a man, but you don't need a man for anything. You can do it all. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can do it all, and end up having to do it all to a certain degree until I realized I couldn't do it all. And I had to lean in.
Well, and one of the things, so one of our listeners on Instagram, the Savvy Accountant, said, "Oh my God, this is so timely. It's crazy how we have the same lives." And a lot of times you will find that our stories are so similar, right? They're so similar amongst Black women. We have a lot of the same struggles, a lot of the same challenges. Let's bring our brother Tony Sanchez to the stage. Welcome, welcome.
Hey,
But
go DJ.
he is the DJ extraordinaire. He is our favorite.
Good
But
morning, Wayne.
what I realize is that even though we all share these similarities, we all go through things very differently, and they affect us and they affect our family and how we think about ourselves so differently. I liken it to when we go through trauma, a lot of us just kind of lock it away. I'm gonna put it in this box, I'm gonna close it up. I ain't gonna never look at it again because I'm healed. That's
Right.
healing for most people is running away from it, not actually sitting through it. And dealing with the trauma, dealing with the stress as an adult and seeing how it's reflected in our personalities. And we think, no, I'm just a strong, I'm just this. These are all trauma responses that you're dealing with. This is residue, this is residual hurt and pain. And I know for me, having a child when I was in college, right, taking care of cousins in my family because their mother was addicted to drugs, always feeling like I was that foundation, that one that was supposed to have it all together. I was like you. I was not asked for help. And when I finally got to that point, my daughter, she was a teenager, she was living with some friends of mine because I needed to focus on me and I needed to help me. So to that person that said you were selfish, I ain't gonna say what I want to say, but keep it to yourself because you don't know what people are going through and how close they are to the end. I was contemplating suicide and nobody knew it, right? So these are the things that as Black women, we have to take better care of ourselves. We have to put ourselves first. And that doesn't make you selfish. It makes you self-full because I can't give to anybody if I'm broken, if I'm abused, if I'm battered, if I am on my last step, if I'm constantly giving out of my cup and my cup is empty. If my cup is empty, what do I have to give to anybody else? And the things that God has called me to do, I can't even fulfill them. So talk a little bit about, your program, who you serve, things of that nature. Tell us a little bit about Purpose Life Coaching Services and how people can find out more.
Yes, so I've really honestly been trying to hone in on a specific group of people because I have so many, I'm gonna say talents and gifts, but at the same time, I have to know I heard, I think I was listening to Danielle Kofi the other morning say we have to know our ability and our capacity. So now I'm back at the drawing board of understanding my ability and my capacity. So I have the ability to do a lot of different things, but I don't have the capacity that I had when I was moving and I heard somebody say grinding and all these things anymore. Now I'm in a space of an ebb and a flow. And so at this point, I am actually going to be doing master classes and cohorts because God has shown me that I called you globally. You're too big to do individual per se support services anymore. I do still have some individual clients, but now it's time to not say the same thing 15 times in a week, but to let's start putting these people together and let's start building a tribe and let's start building a team and allow them to support each other while I just kind of give the guidance and the homework and the support over a 3-month period. And so now I am working on and doing kind of like master classes or cohorts quarterly. And the next one will start in April. It'll go through June, and then I'll have one from August to November, October through October. And what that would be is people that are I have different niches. Those would be business development. Those men and women that are looking to start business. So I'm going to take you from A to Z on how to build your business, how to set it up legitimately, not in your personal account, but your business with your LLC and your EIN, and really legitimizing that space and then taking them to the space of now, what is your vision? What is your purpose? Because one thing about it, I have a nonprofit, which is, I say, my passion. I have a consulting business, which is my talent and my gift. But Purpose Life is my purpose. And so I've been able to separate all those things. But one thing in walking in this space, I was honestly afraid. I've done a lot of trainings, corporate trainings and all that, and that's my genius. That's great. But like trying to start a podcast, trying to do these different things, I've done it afraid because I'm like, Lord, now who am I when I've done all this stuff with all these people, but now I'm doing what I love and now I'm nervous. That's okay. So really helping people to figure out what their purpose is and what that looks like and start taking opportunities that also align with who you are. Because I've had a lot of great ideas. I've had a lot of people pulling me and segueing me into things I shouldn't even be in. My nonprofit is for youth and young adults. And here I am over here serving senior citizens, Christmas hats and stockings, because I didn't really clearly define my space. And so what that looks like, sometimes we get burnt out because we're in the wrong lane. We're doing the wrong thing with the wrong people and allowing people to pull us and steer us where they want us to go because now they're imposing their ideas on us. And it's like, oh, it sounds good. I'm still helping people, so let me do this. No, that's not what God gave you to do. So really helping people to align in that space. And then in aligning in that space, how to scale, because this opportunities and all the opportunities that God has given me with Purpose Life, it's just been creative space, So I'm selling, products inside of the Market by Macy's stores, and I've had opportunities now that's Walmart is reaching out, and Amazon is reaching out, saying, "Hey, we want your stuff in our stores." I'm like, "What, me?" So God has made room for my gift in so many ways of purpose life that I felt like I had to stick with this one thing with the consultant to make money. But God has blessed me in such a way of me being able to do what I absolutely enjoy doing. So right now, I'm sitting in the courthouse of the juvenile courts. I'm about to do a mother-daughter workshop on conflict resolution. That wasn't anything I even thought that I would be able to do under this umbrella. But God has opened up these doors and these opportunities. So helping people to realize, like, you can do what you enjoy doing and you love doing, and opportunities when you're doing with those things will come to you. So really helping them to look at different opportunities, how to do state and government bidding and that process. Outside of that, I do workshops, I do seminars, I do trainings, I do speaking engagements, I host events. Very often, I have a mindset, money, and legacy conference that'll be coming up in March. We have to get our mind right. Once we get our mind right, we got to get our money right. And as our mind and our money is getting right, now you have these things coming in. Now, what do? Our whole goal is to be able to leave a legacy for our children. And so I have amazing professionals that will be on that platform with me. So I'm utilizing my circle of support to help me in this space and for them to operate in their geniuses, because what I realize is I don't have to do it all. I just have to be connected to amazing people that do those things, and we all win together. So that's the circle of life. And so those are different things that I do with Purpose Life. I do virtual services. I also do in person for those that are here in Georgia, metro, Atlanta area. But I would travel all over. I'll come to Dubai. I love Dubai. So somebody wanted to reach me and say, "Listen, you need somebody to come international. Send me and I'll go." But I want to be able to be able to be a segue and an opportunity for people to really establish what that purpose is, what it looks like, and to move forward in life. And so that's what Purpose Life is. That's what I do. I guess I just say a transformation coach. I just pour into people and allow those different things to come about. And so I work with children in terms of workshops and seminars. I work with men and I work with women. I work with business owners or people that have an idea of a business and they need to know how to even segue out of corporate to their own business and what that looks like. I was thrust into mine. I didn't have an option. My CEO closed down the company and it was like, okay, I told you go ahead and do that. But I was stuck in, oh, I got to stay right here. These kids need me, yada, 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 until I didn't have a job. And so that's honestly how I started my first business. I was like, okay, God, what am I gonna do?
Well, and let's talk about kind of challenges and overcoming, because I think that's a good segue is when our hand is forced maybe sometimes into moving. But let's talk a little bit, because we know that every entrepreneur, we're all going to face challenges, especially when you're in the early stages of building your career, your business. It seems like challenge after challenge after challenge comes, right? So can you share maybe a significant obstacle that you encountered while creating kind of these three separate but still somewhat related entities, and how you navigated that challenge and what lessons kind of did you learn from them?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, I didn't start my business per se voluntarily. It was really involuntarily. It came out of a need of, I still need to pay these bills and I still need to be able to survive. And so it was like, what do I do? Because also it was that mom that had that brand new baby. So my daughter was just born at January of 2008 when I started my first business. And it was like, okay, Lord, I don't want to put my baby in daycare until she can talk because I don't want anything to happen to her. I was I need to be able to do this and that. And so I'm like, okay, guys, so what I'm going to do? And so I had an amazing mentor that actually walked me through it. And he was like, Howze, what about a consulting business? I'm like, well, how am I start a consulting business and what do I do? And God told me at that moment, I've given you everything you need. You got the relationships. You've gone through state inspections. You've gone through everything it is that you need to start this business. And I'm like, okay, so what's the next steps then? And I was like, so initially I started off doing consulting, troubleshooting, trainings for group homes for children that was in foster care, people that had homes for kids in the community. And so, yes, I walked through so many audits, doing corrective action plans, had a lot of people that I've worked with the state. So I'm like, okay. And so I was like, okay, so how do I do marketing? Because I didn't go to school for business. I mean, let me throw this out. I didn't get an MBA, didn't go to school for marketing, didn't do any of those things. It was really researching, putting things together, understand like, okay, so how do I start a business? Let me Google that. And that's when I found about the, Secretary of State. And I was like, oh, an EIN, because I know some people go through, was it LegalZoom and pay all these thousands of dollars for people to do that only cost $100 to incorporate a business. And an EIN number is for free. And people pay $1,500, $2,000 for somebody's knowledge. Knowledge is power. It's information that people pay for that they don't want to research and put together. And so once I found that, I was like, okay, and I need to start up my own, get a business bank account, okay, because I can't co-mingle funds. So I went through all that process. And then it was like, so now what do I do? How do I get these people? And God said, go to the state websites. I went to the state website and I started looking at all the different things that these companies were written up for. And after I looked, I was like, oh, and so just do your letter. Have you been written up for? And I just noted all these different things. Didn't have a whole lot of money. I went to Dollar Tree and got a box of envelopes. I went to Office Depot because I didn't have a printer at home and got some letters printed down. I bought one book of stamps because that's all I could afford. And I mailed out these letters to these different group homes in the metro Atlanta area. Yes. And out of those letters, I got a huge hit. And I'm like, Lord, I got these people. Now what do I do?
Well, what do I do with them?
You have to set up a consultation. Like you need to set up a consultation. Like, so I'm Googling, like, what is a consultation? Googling what sample consultation forms look like, what questions I should ask these, ask the owners of these homes. And that's honestly how I got started. But it came out of, again, a need to survive. And so after getting these envelopes, mailing out these letters, now I'm like, okay, what my price look like? How I set up the pricing for these people? Because, of course, you lowball yourself. And I did that. I understood, like, okay, I'm trying to make money, so I don't want to, like, price myself too high. So I started off my consults with $150 for 2 hours. And then when I found out that somebody on the street that didn't have as much relationships, didn't have as much experience, or the credentials was charging, $500,000. I'm like, let me up my game. Let me think about value. That was what I missed. I based my pricing off of what I thought people would pay versus my value.
Yes.
My intellect, my relationships, and my expertise in this area. So once I started to recognize my value, I leveled up and up my prices in terms of consultation. And then I decided that I'm not everybody's coach. I'm not everybody's consultant. I'm not for everybody. God has given me a specific group of people. So I also do that too. I had to figure out, like, who are my people? Because based off of that, they're going to also see my value. So at first, as kind of going back to your question too, everybody's my people initially until I realized my value and my worth. And then I also calculated how much they were making in these homes, even multi-million-dollar companies. And here they are paying me $150. I was like, yeah, we want her because, she charges $150 for these certain things.
Period.
And then from there, so I learned my worth, learned my value, increased my prices, but I started attracting the right people too. People that appreciated and value the services that I could provide. And it wasn't can I get $5 off or $10 off or $1,000 off, because my services helped them to stay open, to continue to make those $1 million a year. My services helped them to not get the write-ups from the state to be shut down. And now they lose everything and possibly face, criminal charges, depending on how bad things are. But it was me learning my value and my worth. And then from there, things were going great. Was married, of course. Now I'm going through this divorce. I have these girls, and now I'm doing this consulting still. I'm making amazing money, but now I'm tired. I'm dealing with the heart palpitations. I'm stressed out. I'm trying to breastfeed, and work on policy procedures 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I had gotten to a point where I was up sometimes 24 hours trying to push and do things because people got things to me at the last minute. And I'm like, Lord, I can't do this anymore. What ended up happening was, in the space of all this, I had initially teetered up on a state contract back in 2010. And I was like, okay, well, I'm doing great. Got a husband, money flowing well. I'm good. So I left it alone. By 2015, I'm like, Lord, I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. These people talking about the Lord gonna bless me. I done started these services and I'm not getting my money up front. Like it just got real crazy and I was tired. I got a call back from that same state agency from 2010 that asked me if I was still interested in the state contract. I'm like, team, okay, Lord, 5 years later, they're reaching out to me to ask me if I want to become a state provider. And I'm like, well, heck yeah, I'm tired. This would be great. So I got the paperwork done, got all this stuff in place. I had that state contract in 1 week. And so I'm like, okay, God, you gave me, it says a ram in the bush. Lord, you gave me a ram in the bush because your girl was tired and I needed a space. And then the reason why I wanted to get this state contract too, because now I realize too, there's only so much I can do with my energy, my power, but I needed to lean in on other people that wanted opportunities as well. Yes. And so I got the contract in 2015, I think it was like September, October, and I actually began to implement services in 2016. And I chose services that I could do myself initially just to kind of see how they work, how the reimbursement comes back in, so on and so forth. And then I started building my team because at this point I knew what was required of the state, how quick the reimbursement would come in. I was still doing a consultant. So I started to build this team. And by 2019, in between that period, I had hired 53 people to work for this contract and for this state. And now I was able to be more into my motherhood, parenting. I could breathe a little bit while going through this process. And the amazing thing is like starting up, I didn't have to get a loan to start this up. I was able to flip my money from the consulting business, start building a payroll to start bringing people on and strategically start paying people now at this point from the overflow that was coming. And it was a rolling budget. It was challenging at times, but we made it. And so I got up to 53 staff and then I realized like, Lord, there's a lot right here too. Working with people, dealing with people, and I'm not a micromanager. It's like I give you your task. I just expect you to do the deadline I want it done, but I'm not a breather in the neck, asking, calling every 15 minutes, what you doing, where are you, or have you met with this client? That's not me. So then I realized I didn't like people like that. I'm like, Lord, I ain't that kind of boss.
I think we have definitely all been there with that. I realize I don't like people either. We're gonna have to take a break, do a little bit of station identification, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Wake Up Happy Sis on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our Black and Brown people because we're telling our stories our way. Imagine a book that isn't just pages and words, but a journey of triumph, resilience, and empowerment. Welcome to the Wake Up Happy Sis Anthology, a collection of stories from Black women who turn trials into triumphs. Each chapter is more than a story. It's a piece of a larger narrative that speaks to the heart of every Black woman. It's about overcoming, thriving, and finding joy in life's journey. This anthology is a celebration, a testament to the strength and spirit of women who faced life head on. Their stories are an inspiration, an invitation for you to rise, to heal, and to connect. Be a part of this extraordinary journey. Find your inspiration, your community, your voice in the Wake Up Happy Sis Anthology. Your story matters, and it's time the world hears it. Join us, share, inspire, empower, and always wake up happy, sis. And we are back. So we've got a panel of amazingly fabulous women entrepreneurs. And we also have Tony, who is our big brother extraordinaire. I don't want to leave him out. So Sharonda, let's talk to you a little bit because you also have a business. When you were growing your business, well, actually, tell the people a little bit about your transition from military work and all that into your own business. You're on mute. You got to unmute, friend. There we go.
All right. So by trade, I'm an accountant. I graduated from Tuskegee University, and I got commissioned. but before that, I just had this love affair with numbers. And so that's what my purpose was revealed to me. And the first bookkeeping class I took was in high school when they actually had doggone chalkboards, black chalkboards and white chalk. So when you get a chance, go look at bookkeeping 101 LLC because it's an actual chalkboard because that's how it was revealed to me. So that's what my logo is. So I did accounting in the Army. Then I got commissioned. I became a signal officer. That's communications. But I had to find stuff to count because the Army is, based on its needs, not your needs, even though that's what you went to school for and stuff, right?
Right.
And so then we had our own pool cleaning company, and my husband is also an accountant by trade, but he was out there actually cleaning the pools, and I was in the back office doing the bookkeeping and customer-facing part of the business and stuff like that. Then I was like, well, what if we did a spinoff business in addition to pool cleaning? What about bookkeeping as a company? And so that's when we started growing that. And then in addition to that, we were homeschooling. Our son is now 21, so he was about 5 or 6 at the time and stuff. And then I got into the federal arena, and I retired as a GS-12 out of finance and stuff. And so I've been liberated since December.
Liberated.
Liberated. Yes to the liberation,
girl. Because I have no more to give. I just got tired of begging for support from my supervisor and stuff, and it was actually a good thing that he didn't support me when I had that panic attack while working and stuff. Like, it's time for me to choose me. Since everybody chooses everybody else, somebody's got to choose me. So I told my husband one day, it's like, babe, I can't do this anymore. At that point, I had 21 plus years, and he was more than ready for me to come to the dark side, according to him, which is free and stuff, right?
He's like, free yourself, babe. Free yourself.
He said, come
on home, boo. Come on home, boo.
Absolutely. He said, we got this. He literally threw a computer in my lap. We went to go open up the business account. He was just, come on, because you'll get way more out of betting on yourself than waiting on somebody to bet on you, working for somebody else.
Yeah, that's a word right there. I got to clap on that.
Thank you. Clack, 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 clack. I left my doggone fan at home. But
that's why I got up. I had to go over there by the window and shout on that one. That one there, boy, stirs up something in me.
Man, I'm telling you what, so I gave him the gift of time back because in the military, in the government, Dr. Shunte, it's that minimum retirement age and stuff. And at the time I was 50. I'm 52 now, and I've been free since December of 2022. So I'm still learning about or dealing with life without the stress part. And I thank God for my virtual assistants with my doing my bookkeeping and stuff, so I can breathe and be able to come and go and not have to worry about putting in a leave form and worried if I got enough leave or if I can go, because I have been left at home because I had 3.64 hours of leave. And somebody did go ahead and go on vacation without me. I'm like, that's the last day.
Wait. Received did not leave my friend at home.
Yes, he did. And he had to do that because
I'm trying to push you to come on up out of there, and you could be free like me.
Because sometimes you gotta learn your best lessons the hard way and stuff.
Them self-awareness lessons really teach you a lot.
And if you're smart, it should only take you once. If you're smart. And so now it's the boy is grown and gone. He's 21. And now it's me focusing on or trying. I was listening very intently to you, doctor, because it's like you have all of these talents and you have your skill, you have your trade, because that's what your trade is and stuff. And so it's the doing the work to grow the business and stuff. And so it's not really a challenge because it was my husband's business that was able to allow me to walk away from the government while they still, doing the paperwork after all of this doggone time. Because everything is fast in the government and stuff.
Right.
And so, we're running off of QuickBooks and we're a virtual business because I don't see that pandemic. It was different for me because now I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I thrive from home. I still, the work-life balance became very good for us and stuff, and being able to come and go as we please after the pandemic, after liberation and was rapturing from the government and stuff, and be gone for as long as we want, like go to Mexico for 4 or 5 weeks and stuff.
We're not just gonna keep rubbing that in my face.
But you had asked me and stuff, and so I didn't even ask the people what they want sometimes.
I didn't even ask about that part. That was just.
But it was in your mind. I've been working with you way too long, ma'am. It's coming up on a year, ma'am.
I was gonna say something about it. I was gonna say something about it.
You've been peeped up there already. You know that. Come on.
I already know you, ma'am. We vibing and stuff. And so it's you're. I'm in this space. And I'm like, so when you've been living with stress for so doggone long, you have to learn how to replace that stress with something good and healthy and wholesome and breathe, relax. And so this is new territory for me and stuff. So it's I don't have to worry about my son. Worrying about my kid is, come way down and stuff, right? I don't have the pushing and the pulling, that self-inflicted thing. If you trying really hard to get to your MRA, you're trying really hard to get to your MRA, but the Lord is like, you're not supposed to be there, and I'm gonna make it uncomfortable for you until you, miseducated woman, can understand you're not supposed to be there. I didn't get my 13. I didn't because I wasn't supposed to be there. So when you are in that headspace of, getting closer to your creator and stuff and being more in tune with him, he doesn't have to beat you over the head, so many times and stuff, so to speak, right? And so now I'm just, I'm, active in my husband's business. I am trying to figure out, what to do, because I thought about the government contracting thing. And I'm like, okay, so like stress, I gotta wait. It was an effort for me to get away from that level of stress and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. I have two clients, and it's not stressful at all because I've outsourced that portion and stuff. So now I don't know which direction to go. So,
and what I think it brings up is that sense of internal purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Where do we go when we feel like we've accomplished this one thing? Mm-hmm. What is our next thing? And I know, like for me, I still bounce back between my IT business, and everybody knows I'm a IT, I'm a nerd. I'm okay. I'm a proud Black sexy nerd. Y'all see the sexy?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't ever question it. And I'm over here on TikTok looking at myself, looking all juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious, but I'm gonna come back over here and focus because that's what I'm supposed to be doing, focusing.
Don't interrupt her conversation by herself and stuff, okay?
Right, you can't do that because I be vibing with me over here, and then I have to come back to y'all over here and vibe over here. But I think for me, because I bounce back between the two, kind of like you, Dr. Shunte, is I have my purpose, mm-hmm. which is Wake Up Happy Sis, which is my goal of helping 1 million women live happy, healing, and fulfilling lives, right? By focusing on their own self-care and wellness for once, right? And being able to say no and mean it and not feel guilty about it, being able to own their pain, being able to own the fact that they need to heal themselves. We can't continue to blame mama and daddy and whoever hurt us. We now have to make a decision. But then between my skill, meaning I'm tech, I can figure out pretty much any system. This is what I do. And trying to balance between those while being a mother, while being this, while being all the hats that we're also used to wearing, it wears on your mental, emotional, physical, wellness. So as we kind of wrap up, let's talk a little bit about the role of self-care in your journeys and in your success. So I know you are speaking about, kind of a holistic well-being for entrepreneurs, right? So can you share how your personal self-care practices have influenced or helped your success?
You want which one first? Okay. um, so I've learned how to balance. Now that I'm still working on some things, but I've learned how to balance by just having a start time and an end time for real now. So and building in my me time. And so once my daughter's off to school, I've made breakfast, lunch from really about 8:30 until 10 o'clock is my time. So that is me going to walk. I'm trying to do better with eating breakfast because I've told myself like I don't eat breakfast, but I need that to really jumpstart, and it's really breaking a fast breakfast. And so really getting honing in on that. I enjoy walking, so I'm now now it's getting back warm outside. I'm walking, and I don't see my first client, don't start any business until 10 o'clock. And then I have a cutoff period by 3 or 4. It just depends on what's going on because I also have to clock into mommy mode. After about 8 o'clock, that's it. That's my, shower, read a book, try to chill, just do me, whatever me want to do. That's my time. And so girls know like after 8 o'clock or after 9 o'clock, like it's mommy's time. Like don't
What's
ask
mommy
me.
office hours?
Right. I'm done for the day and setting those boundaries because that's another thing as well. Like really setting boundaries, as you mentioned, like saying no and being unapologetic about it. And then, of course, when we're in these spaces of the savior, we're the savior. Um, we don't know how to say no and we feel bad about saying no. And then we have to come up with all these excuses saying no when just simply no is no and being okay with that. It was like period. And so I'm doing a lot better with that and not overcommitting myself. But again, building my me time. So I have time with my daughters, but then I have mommy time to where mommy will hop a plane and fly out to Miami and just chill for 24 hours. And then I come back because I need that creative space. I just need that rest. And sometimes being in the thick of your own home, and of course, working from home, you're still thinking about, and I'm hoping that you're mastering and working through that, Sharonda, is like just because I'm working from home, I mean, I have to now start this laundry, start cooking dinner, and all these things because you're stretching yourself, but learning how to balance that space and taking that me time. So that is kind of what I have gotten into and what I do in terms of self care because it's not just the hair and the nails and going to get the massages. I also had got to a place where I had to start making excuses when my girls would go with their dad and be with him for the weekend. They're like, "Mommy, well, what you doing this weekend? The reason you can't have us?" And I would find things to do just so I wouldn't feel bad about the fact that I'm going to their dad's house. But now I'm like, girl, I'm gonna be laying in my bed. So why we can't stay here? Because it's his weekend. Mommy needs
First
to.
of all, little girl, I'm your mama, not the other way around.
Right, exactly.
And you got 2 parents.
Right, exactly.
Your daddy want to see you.
Your
Your daddy want to see you. Bye.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But
You
I think
need me to take this break, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
right. But I think that's important, right? And it's that choosing you. I want everybody to get that. Choosing you is never a bad thing, right? Your why should not always be about somebody else.
Yes.
Now it can be if you want to. I ain't here to tell you what to do in your life. Well, yes, I am. But you don't got to do what I say if you don't want to. But at some point, you have to choose you. Because if you're always choosing somebody else, what you're subconsciously telling yourself and telling your daughters and telling the world is that everyone and everybody else is more important, and my worth is tied to my service to others. I'm not worthy of this break time because I'm a mother, as if being a mama means you can't have time for yourself, right? Now, when their kids are young, you can't, because they even come in the bathroom on you. Like, and I have boys. Excuse me, can I have privacy? Or they're gonna sit out there, knock at the door. Oh my God, get out. I'm trying to take a bath. Who's right there staring at me around the door?
Wait.
On the side of the tub next to you. Because mommy, what you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to take a bath. Like, can I take a bath? So I stopped taking baths when more so my little one than my older one's awake. Because I'm like, girl, this is a me time. Well, can I just sit here and talk to you? No. Go to bed.
It's okay. You love them. You don't have to like them. That's extra.
Yeah, no, exactly. But mine's want to get in the tub with me. Excuse me, sir. There ain't even enough space. It's not going to work with me and you and him because there's two of you. It's not going to work. You could take a shower. You could take a bath right after me. There's actually a whole other bathroom. You have your own bathroom. Why don't you go over there? Right. But
because you're not over there, Mom.
Look, when they were 8 months old, well, no, as soon as they learned, somewhere between 9 and 12 months, they learned how to climb out of their crib. So now they're with me all the time. It took me 4 years to get them out of my room. 4.
They tag teamed you, that's why.
Yes, because they were twins. So if one's coming, the other coming right behind.
Right.
But I say that to say I want everyone who is listening, who is in earshot of this podcast, it's okay for you to choose you. It is okay for you to say, I need a break. I need someone to take these kids so I can just go and live a hot girl weekend if I want to. I just want to walk around my house naked because I got kids, and it's okay to want those things, and it's okay to say no to people, to places, to things that are not serving you and that are not helping you live the most amazing, fulfilling, and happy life. I want to shift that. Yeah, we have to shift in our mindset that it's okay for us to put us first. How in the hell am I a supporting role in my movie? This is the movie of Leanne, but I'm a supporting actor? No. But that's what
back in the day, you wanted everybody to choose you. But now as an adult, you gotta be okay with choosing yourself if no one else does. Can you clap that for me, please?
Let me clack it. You heard that. That's a big clack. That was a big clack. Because we have
choose
to learn how to choose us, and that's not always easy. That's usually the hardest thing. If you are used to being the foundation and the support for everybody else, you're never used to asking for help. How do you let go enough to say, hey, I'm drowning here, I can't do this anymore? Because sometimes that choosing yourself means you have to be vulnerable. It means you have to admit that you don't have it all together, that you look like you got everything going, but on the inside, you are broken. You have to be able to reach out and ask for help. The first time I did that, it was the hardest thing to do. I felt like such a failure, such a loser, because I was overwhelmed because I'm doing my job, his job, her job. I'm essentially the cleanup woman. My main client I have right now, I'm essentially the cleanup woman. But I know now when I have to enforce my boundaries. And let me say this, the first boundary you need to enforce is the boundary with yourself. You got to set some
I'm
boundaries.
glad you said that, little sis, because a lot of people tend to forget that very thing right there. You know, man, if you deny self,
Right, what we
ooh,
doing?
ooh,
Yeah. We have to put that boundary of ourselves first of what are my boundaries? What
Yeah.
are my goals? What do I have to step away from and be okay that I have to step away from? And that's people, processes, places, things that are not serving your best and your highest version of yourself. So I'm looking at the clock and trying to be on time because normally, Shunte, our stuff be in an hour and a half and we still talk. But I'm trying to be better about being on time with my things. So, our last couple of minutes, let's talk about, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for the entrepreneurs coming behind you? The person that says, I got $40 to my name, I can't do this anymore, because you did it with nothing. Do you have any advice to them, or how should they start? How should they start to move if they're feeling like they don't have a lot of resources, but they want to start this business? They have this calling that they can't get away.
So first and foremost, I wanted to add back to what you said, Leanne, and that is putting ourselves first. But even in putting ourselves first, and of course, we have children, we all have kids. I think about legacy now. I think about this multi-generational space of what I want to pour into my daughters. And I know how overworked and overwhelmed I've been. So now I'm imparting into them the self care and saying no and being able to have a voice and taking your time out and doing your affirmations and doing your gratitude and really pouring into them. Because, like we talk about, oh, we've got generational curses, we got generational blessings. There are things that we have to break with us. And if we break it with us, and we're living and being a better us, we can then expect a better them because each generation gets better and better, but it becomes because of wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience and God. And so that's what I want to do. And that's my focus now. It's like being a better me so they can be a better them at this point. I don't know how many more years I have. I'm praying for however, 40 plus, 50 plus more years, but it's legacy building space now. So going back to your question about the entrepreneur spirit, and that is for that entrepreneur that's like, listen, I don't have a lot, I don't have anything. Really digging in within first to figure out what you think may be your purpose or what are your talents and what are your gifts. Because I tell them, even when I was working with my kids, I'm like, listen, God gave all of us a gift and a talent. We all got a side hustle in some kind of way.
That's
So
right.
it's like figuring out if it is, again, working that job for a period of time, to take that job, to use that money, because I say a job is in preparation for that next thing that God has for you. Learn what you need to learn, do what you need to do at this point to build a budget or money over here to get started. Now, there's other resources. SBA has a free program, mentorship, where you can go onto the SBA.gov website and look for a mentor. You put in your zip code, and you can find mentors in all different industries that are experts or deemed experts and successful in their businesses in whatever that is, and that's for free. So utilizing that resource. There's a lot of different programs that I hear that have seed money. So maybe research and trying to figure out like people that like to pour into like startups, nonprofit. Startup companies that may give you the $100 or the $200 that you need. There's a lot of pitch competitions that are going on all over the place for you to earn money. If you're passionate about something, let that passion become your purpose and let it make you some money at the same time. Connect with some people that are doing what you want to do, and asking. Only thing a person can tell you is no. But I enjoy pouring into people. So I'm one of those that's like, okay, you know what? I can mentor you or shadow me, see what I do, how I do it, and up it, because there's enough out here. Let me talk about this competition space. There's enough out here for all of us. to get a piece of this pie. I said my granny used to play, he got the whole world in his hand. If God has a whole world in his hand, then we do too. We just have to figure out what part of this world we want. So we don't have to fight. We don't have to compete. Stay in your lane. Your lane is going to get you where you need to go. Stay in your lane. And so those are some of the things that I would like to leave with that person. Don't give up. Don't give in. You can be trying to start a business. You can be 15 trying to start a business. It's a room out here for all of us. Google, I call it Dr. Google. Google is your best friend. It'll give you some information. It'll share a lot of resources with you. Just make it something that's legitimate. There's a lot of free things out here that you don't have to pay for. Like I said, I'm not knocking LegalZoom because it helps some people, but being able to figure out what those things are.
Yes, I love that. And tell the people as we close it out how they can get in contact with you and find out more about your products and services and offerings.
Yes, so I am on Facebook. I'm Purpose Life Coaching. Actually, it's Purpose for Life because somebody had my Purpose Life Coaching. I'm like, how do I get my stuff? But anyway, so it's Purpose, the number 4 life. I'm on Instagram at Purpose Life Coaching, and that's all just one word. TikTok, I'm working on that. My 10-year-old helping me with my TikTok, and she's like, Mommy, I can do that for you. So Purpose Life Coaching on TikTok. And then my website is www.purposelifecoaching.com. You can hit me up via email, and that is, purposelifecoaching@gmail.com, or you can do info@purposelifecoaching.com as well. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for all the things that are coming about. I look forward to being able to speak with anybody that just needs some assistance, some support. And again, we can do a self-discovery call. It's 30 minutes free. If you're trying to figure out what that thing looks like or what coaching actually is, you can book a self-discovery call through my website, and we can see. I'm not everybody's coach, and everybody's not my client. So I know that as well.
Amen, amen. Well, we definitely want to thank you for being here and for sharing space with us and telling us all about yourself and your fabulous services. And y'all need to go and hit her up. Go find her on social media, follow her, book her, right? We need to keep our money in our community, right? We got to support one another. We are our own saviors. We don't need nobody else to save us. So with that, Sharonda, you want to tell the people how they can find you?
bookkeepingforlife.com. It's time. It's tax season. Come find me because your CPA is going to be unforgiving if your bookkeeping is not together.
And Dr. Sanchez, DJ Tony Sanchez.
Hey, man, this has been, I'm glad I came in today, man. You know, this has been very informational for me. Thank you, Doc, with your fine self. Girl, you better go ahead on with that. Listen, I'm DJ Tony Sanchez. You can catch me at the Eye of the Storm at www.spreaker.com. Every day of the week, I do request shows and all that good stuff. But you can catch me personally for KCCR Radio Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 9 p.m. Man, dropping them sounds that make you get up to get down. So make sure you tune in. Don't just meet me there, beat me there.
Amen, amen. And as always, you can find me at wakeuphappysis.com. Just look up Wake Up Happy Sis. You're going to find me. And if there's another one out there with some Wake Up Happy Sis, let me know because we're not having that, period. But I want to thank y'all for joining me for another fabulous episode of the Wake Up Happy Sis Show on KCCR Cityscape Radio. We want to thank our special guest, Dr. Shunte Howze, for coming and blessing our stage with her presence. And at that, I want you guys to have the day you're supposed to have. Because remember, you get to choose how you respond to all the things that come at you today. So with that, make sure that you love yourself, you love each other, and just learn how to wake up happy. And we out. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of